Patty and I moved to Washington, D.C. in the fall of 2007. We'd visited the nation's capital many times. We came here with our daughters when they were very young. Patty brought school children, and I came on a couple of those trips with her to visit the Capitol. Our daughters decided to go to college here. And every time we came to visit, we sensed the history and the dynamic energy that makes Washington, D.C. such a special place. My mother, who died in 2011, used to say that Washington, D.C. was for her the center of the universe. She was fortunate enough to work for Eleanor Roosevelt during the war years. And she said the one place she'd rather live than Los Angeles, where I was raised, was Washington, D.C. Well, we came to learn that Washington, D.C., while a magical, wonderful, powerful place, is also a home to 660,000 residents who are more colonists than they are citizens of the United States. So I wanted to find out what caused all of this to happen and why the unique situation of Washington, D.C. among the 50 states, not a state. And I learned about the Organic Act in 1801. Washington, D.C. was settled as the federal city under the exclusive control of Congress. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution specifies that. Since then, the Constitution's been amended a number of times. For instance, slaves have been freed, women have been given the right to vote, and yet the citizens of Washington, D.C. are still colonists without representation in Congress, no say over the laws that we enact, or how our tax dollars are spent. We pay more in federal income taxes than the residents of 21 other states. And any member of Congress can act at any time to put a rider on a bill or a budget bill, or block any of our legislation if they think that it's not particularly in their best interest. They can do to us what they could not do in their own districts. For them, it's political theater. For us, it's real life. So I embarked on the challenge of creating a documentary film that tells this story. And what I learned when I was walking along the National Mall during this last Memorial Day weekend, interviewing people for my film, was that there are people from outside of Washington, D.C. who have a very different opinion of what Washington, D.C. is about, despite the fact that they're here to visit, to study, to learn, to demonstrate, to celebrate their shared sense of American history and democracy with a capital D. They don't know that we are not citizens, that we don't get to benefit from the same things that they have. So I'm traveling cross country, interviewing people, and the interviews that I collect from people as I drive across this great land from Washington, D.C. to California to Oregon and then back over the northern route will be a part of this film. My website already contains a number of interviews conducted in Washington, D.C. which tell our story, and my hope is to be able to contrast the views that we have of ourselves and tell the story of who we are with those of people outside of Washington, D.C. whose votes are going to be absolutely essential to help us become a state. We want to tell the rest of America who we are and what we're about and why we think it's important that they understand that Washington, D.C. is not what they think it is and not what it was 20 years ago when it was thought of as Chocolate City with guns and drugs. We have become a much more interesting, dynamic, diverse, safe place for the business of government to be done and for people to come visit. And for those of us who live here, we think we deserve more than just being colonists. I hope that when this film is produced, you will agree with me that it was an endeavor worth undertaking, and I'm asking for your help. My initial request is for $7,500 to help pay for the trip and the work that I've already done. And when I get to a certain point, I may come back and ask for more. But for now, I'm on an Indiegogo campaign. I'd like you to contribute because it has been classified as a not-for-profit project for the public good. Your contributions will be tax deductible to the extent allowed by law. I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.